What made Maggie Wheeler play a whole scene as Janice in a public bathroom? What's the funny story behind Gunther's iconic hairstyle? And who was Ben's biggest crush on the set?
Yeah, you like that one?
Yeah, you're funny.
Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're watching OSSA Movies. Maggie Wheeler still gets Janice requests.
Oh my God.
There's a downside to being known by half the planet for 3 simple words. Even though Friends ended almost 2 decades ago, Maggie still can't use a public restroom without encountering fans who want her to repeat Janice's immortalized catchphrase for their amusement. While speaking to Digital Spy, Maggie opened up about Friends fans demanding her to recite the iconic words whenever they cross paths. There was even an incident where she met some of her admirers in a public bathroom, and one woman wanted more than a selfie with the star. According to Maggie, the woman asked her to come walking around the corner, stop, and say her iconic catchphrase. The actress happily obliged, but she was a little too happy for the fans' liking. Basically, Maggie couldn't stop laughing, so she was ordered to do a second take until she got it right. Maggie gets these requests every single day, so don't go thinking that she says, "Oh my God," for anyone. So if you ever bump into her, make sure you ask her nicely and maybe do something to make her giggle. Of course, Janice's catchphrase just wouldn't be the same without her iconic voice. But what inspired her to speak that way in the first place?
The voice, your idea or the producer's idea with the laugh?
My idea. I saw the audition and I'm like, I think I know that girl. I think I've met her a million times. And so that's what I did.
Keep it going!
Maggie's life after Friends has been full of cheer. But what were the supporting cast members like before they got their career-defining roles? For some, it was a daunting experience. Tag was almost played by a Superman star. It goes without saying that Ross was Rachel's lobster, but Tag Jones was an absolute sweetheart and they had a lot of fun together. Maybe the relationship would have lasted if he were a little bit older and more mature. I guess we'll never know.
According to my plan, I should already be with the guy that I'm gonna marry. Woo-hoo!
The good news is that playing Tag was a positive experience for actor Eddie Cahill. Not only did the role make him a star, but he also got to contribute to the show's creative process. In an interview with Media Village, he recalled how he was encouraged to share some of his own ideas on the set, and that was because Jennifer Aniston believed in him. There was one moment I remember in particular. We were trying to work on a joke in rehearsal and I kinda leaned in with an idea and she said, "Hey, Eddie has an idea and it's a pretty good one. Let's try it." She allowed me to have a voice, which was very cool. However, while Eddie had a great time working on Friends, the rehearsal period was stressful. For a start, he used his last $230 to fly to New York for his audition, which he described as nerve-wracking. It must have been, as he had to go up against Tom Welling, who went on to play Clark Kent in Smallville. After Eddie landed the role, Tom shook his hand and wished him all the best. And Tom went on to have a pretty great career as well, so everyone was a winner in the end. It wasn't always positive on Friends. Eddie Cahill wasn't the only actor to portray one of the Friends' significantly younger lovers to have a nerve-wracking audition. Alexandra Paige Holden captured Ross's heart as Elizabeth, but the actress didn't have the best experience in the beginning. Recalling the events years later, Alexandra revealed that she was instructed to look, and I quote, "as hot as possible" by the producers. This led to her staying up all night trying to pick a suitable outfit to wear, which only added to her stress as she wasn't given any specifics on what was expected of her.
What's this?
It's a bathing suit.
To wear in front of people?
According to Alexandra, her head was in a tailspin at the time, and she wouldn't be as willing to accept instructions like that nowadays. Friends has also received criticism for its lack of diversity, and that was even common when the show originally aired. Aisha Tyler was one of the few people of color to land a significant supporting role in the series, playing Charlie in season 9. When Aisha auditioned for the role, it wasn't written for a black woman. However, she impressed everyone with her performance and got the opportunity to make an impact. While Aisha is aware of Friends' polarizing history regarding diversity, she believes that she got the role because she was the right person for the role. The negative experiences were few and far between, however, as most of the other stars only have happy memories to share. The parents aren't as bad as you think. Elliot Gould and Christina Pickles were already established actors when they joined the Friends cast, but Friends fans will always remember them as Monica and Ross's parents. And given that they had such a long run on the show, it's unsurprising to learn that they enjoyed working with their co-stars throughout the years. Some people aren't willing to accept that, though. According to Christina, interviewers and fans have a tendency to ask her to trash talk about her former colleagues. Maybe that's because they think she's mean like Judy?
Oh, we're having spaghetti. That's easy.
Unfortunately for those gossipers, Christina is super nice and she has nothing bad to say about any person she worked with back then. In fact, she even described them as wonderful. Sorry to shatter your dreams, haters. And if you're hoping that Elliot Gould had a negative experience, think again. Elliot loved working with everyone on the show, and he's thrilled that he's part of such an awesome legacy. That being said, the actor revealed that he's shocked because his granddaughter's generation has also discovered the show and fallen in love with it. Then again, Elliot also knows that Friends has a timeless charm.
And I don't just mean my generation, I mean of any generation can identify with it. What we have to identify with is great, and even the concept of friends. It's so wonderful to be friends.
Naturally, Elliot still gets a lot of attention from fans to this day. He even has a major celebrity fan in the form of self-proclaimed Friends freak Taylor Swift. Elliot's Friends credentials could also lead to a spot in Taylor's band for his grandchildren. After meeting the veteran actor on the set of Saturday Night Live, Taylor told him that they could come on stage with her anytime. If you ask me, that makes Elliot Gould the coolest grandpa in the world. The positive memories don't end there for the actors either. Once Gunther, forever Gunther. Outside of the Big Six, Gunther is probably the most beloved character in Friends. He was a constant presence in the show during its 10-year run, and who could forget his bright blonde hair and everlasting suffering because he couldn't be with Rachel?
Maybe you'd just like to get something to eat with me sometime. As my lover.
And speaking of his bleach blonde hair, did you know that was all actor James Michael Tyler's idea? Well, sort of. One of his real-life buddies was training to be a hairstylist at the time, and he decided to practice on James the night before his audition.
I came in with the hair bleached white, so that was probably the happiest accident and mistake I've ever made in my life.
The bold hairstyle impressed the show's creators, as James went from being a basic extra to playing one of the most recognizable stars in Friends. He wasn't even supposed to have such a long-term role in the show. He was originally brought in for an episode, but his snazzy hair and experience working as an actual barista beforehand went a long way.
Show up tomorrow, so I showed up with, thankfully, the white hair, and I got my $40 and a meal. And then they had me coming back for 10 years.
Gunther didn't even have any lines until after his 33rd appearance, which was when he started crushing on Rachel and hating Ross.
Hazel.
Having to live for 10 years with questionable peroxide hair paid off in the long run, as Friends has had quite an impact on the actor's life. According to James, he still gets called Gunther when he's out in public to this day. Some actors would get sick of that after all these years, but James doesn't have a problem with being known as his old barista alter ego. It's better to be remembered for something than nothing at all, right? Besides, James also seems happy about being part of the show that touched millions of people's hearts all around the world. Of course, Gunther's legacy is quite squeaky clean. The next actor, meanwhile, brought some edge to the show. People just can't get over Condom Boy. Giovanni Ribisi may have been a bit part player in Friends, but he also can't shake the sitcom's legacy, despite going on to make some awesome shows and movies since then. While he went on to become Phoebe's brother, Frank Jr., the actor originally had a cameo as a rascal who was fondly remembered as Condom Boy. This is because he showed up in a brief scene looking for a rubber that he dropped in Phoebe's guitar case.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Christine, I got it!
It's great that he became the face of safe fornication, and at least Giovanni can laugh about it.
Any other film, that will be like a thing. Like people screaming from their cars as you're walking down the street.
Of course, Giovanni's relationship with Alice Knight, his much older teacher, also deserves a mention. That storyline was quite controversial at the time, and Deborah Jo Rupp, who played Alice, has said that she felt horrified making out with an actor who was 25 years younger than her. Maybe Deborah wasn't a fan of making out with the younger fella, but you wouldn't think that from watching the show and seeing how great Alice and Frank were together. Tom Selleck would do it all again. Who could forget Richard and his glorious mustache? Some fans might even argue that he was a better fit for Monica than Chandler.
Richard, that's all I ever hear. Richard, Richard, Richard.
There's no denying that he was more mature and had a nicer apartment than Mr. Bing, but he wasn't Monica's lobster. At the same time, others feel that Richard was a bit creepy as he was much older and knew Monica since she was a child, so yeah. Let us know where you stand on that issue in the comments. That being said, the fact that people are still talking about Richard proves that Friends was a huge deal for Tom Selleck, and that's no small feat considering he's had quite a prolific career on the screen. While he's since gone on to star in hit shows like Blue Bloods since Friends ended all those years ago, Tom would love to bring back Richard for one last hurrah. According to Tom, if there's ever a reunion, he would love to be a part of it. Tom loved being a member of the Friends team, but not every famous actor is as enthusiastic about it. Paul Rudd didn't feel important. Towards the end of Friends, Mike became like a seventh member of the gang. The actor didn't see it that way, though. While reflecting on the experience, he revealed that he felt like a prop, since Friends was always going to focus on Ross, Rachel, Monica, Chandler, Phoebe, and Joey at the end of the day. Of course, Paul didn't hate his time on the show either. He since described the experience as interesting, and noted that it was cool to be a part of something that's had such a profound impact on pop culture. Maybe Paul wishes that he had more chances to shine in the grand scheme of things, but he shouldn't beat himself up too much. Fans will always love Mike, and he will most certainly always be remembered as one of the show's funniest characters.
Crap bag.
Carol and Susan shattered barriers. Say what you will about some of Friends' so-called problematic elements, but there's been no denying that the show's positive depiction of a same-sex relationship between Carol and Susan is an undeniably progressive idea. This was especially true during the show's era, when these types of relationships weren't commonplace in mainstream sitcoms.
You know, you have to take a course. Otherwise, they don't let you do it.
Carol and Susan are iconic characters in that regard, but not everyone was a fan. In the past, Jane Sibbett talked about how Carol's sexuality led to her receiving backlash from some of the show's less open-minded fans. According to Now to Love, her father wasn't happy about it, which caused some tension in their relationship. However, this only fueled Jane to be more outspoken about the need for equality, and she's maintained those values ever since. Similarly, Jessica Hecht is proud of the part she played in contributing towards the positive LGBTQ values. The actress still has people coming up to her to this day to discuss the empowering impact that Susan and Carol's relationship had on them. And that's a legacy she's incredibly proud to be a part of. And who could forget Susan and Carol's son, Ben? What's he up to these days? 4 actors played the Ben character, and one of them is currently the hottest star on television. Cole Sprouse might be riding high with Riverdale, but he hasn't forgotten about his 90s sitcom roots and how uncomfortable he felt back then. Now that he's an adult, Cole has been open about his struggles working with Jennifer Aniston, but not because she was mean to him or anything. You see, young Cole had a massive crush on the actress and struggled to remember his lines whenever she was on the set. It also didn't help that his colleagues teased him for it.
Yeah, you like that one?
Yeah, you're funny.
I'm funny? Oh, thank God.
But Cole didn't notice as he couldn't stop looking at his crush. Michael Gunderson, Carlos Thomas Allen, and John Christopher Allen have been quieter about their experiences as Ben, though. The child actors gave up the life of fame and fortune after their time on the show, and the rest is history. Now it's time to hear from you. Who was your favorite Friends supporting character? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're here, why don't you check out some of our other Friends videos?